At my wife's baby shower, her college friend pulled me into the kitchen, crying. She blurted out that she wasn't sure who the father was, and that my wife had been sleeping with someone else, just one last time. When I asked my wife later, she just smirked and said, "Guess you'll have to find out the hard way." I did, with a DNA test that changed everything. I never thought I'd end up here, typing this out like some late-night Reddit confessional. But after what happened at my wife's baby shower, and everything since, I feel like I'm losing my mind, and writing it down is the only thing keeping me sane. I'm 34. My wife, Dana, is 32. We've been married 5 years. We live in a quiet suburb outside Columbus, Ohio. We're the kind of couple people would say, have it all together. I work in construction management. Dana's a high school English teacher. We don't live fancy, but we worked hard for what we have. For a long time, the one thing we didn't have was a baby. We tried for 2 years. Tests, doctor visits, months of tracking Dana's cycle, awkward scheduling, all of it. Dana took it especially hard. She'd cry sometimes after seeing someone post baby pictures. She started avoiding baby aisles at Target. I was patient, supportive, everything I thought a husband should be. And then, out of the blue, she surprised me one morning with a positive pregnancy test. She cried. I cried. We hugged for what felt like forever. We told our parents the next day. Her mom screamed. Mine cried over the phone. That was 5 months ago. Fast forward to last month. Her baby shower. Her parents hosted it at their place in Westerville. It was mostly her friends and family. Some of her college roommates flew in, including Andrea, who used to be Dana's roommate back at Miami University in Oxford. Andrea seemed off. I couldn't put my finger on it. She kept staring at me when she thought I wasn't looking. During one of the games, guess the due date or something, she got up and left the room. A few minutes later, she came back and quietly said, "Can I talk to you in the kitchen for a minute?" I figured she needed help with something. Instead, she shut the kitchen door, turned around, and started crying. Real crying. Hands shaking, mascara starting to smudge. I asked what was going on. She looked straight at me and said, "I don't know if the baby is yours." I stood there, frozen. She kept talking. I didn't want to be the one to say anything, but Dana told me something a few weeks after she found out she was pregnant. She said she hooked up with someone else. Just once. It was an old ex. She said it was for closure. It was right before she got the positive test. I couldn't even think. Couldn't breathe. All I managed to ask was, "Why are you telling me now?" She said, "Because I saw your face out there. I saw how happy you looked." I couldn't stay quiet. I didn't say anything. I just walked out of the kitchen. I didn't go back into the party. I got in my truck and sat there for 30 minutes. Staring at the steering wheel. Trying to tell myself there had to be some explanation. Dana wouldn't do that. Not after everything. Not now. That night, after we got home, I waited until we were alone. She was in bed, propped up with pillows. I sat down in the chair across the room. "I talked to Andrea," I said. Dana didn't even flinch. "She told me about what you said. That you slept with someone else. Right before the pregnancy." She didn't deny it. She didn't even look surprised. She just tilted her head and said, "Guess you'll have to find out the hard way." That's when I knew it was true. The next day, I scheduled a consultation with a paternity test clinic. They walked me through the process. I learned that in Ohio, since I was the legal husband, I'd be considered the father unless I challenged it. So I had to be smart. Careful. Strategic. I kept acting normal around Dana. I still went to appointments with her. Still rubbed her back when she felt sick. Still helped build the crib. I hated myself for it, but I had to play along. I had to wait for the DNA test after the birth. The night our son was born, I held him. He looked perfect. I felt love and confusion and pain all at once. But deep down, I knew. 2 weeks later, I took the test. Swabbed my cheek. Paid for expedited results. When the envelope came in the mail, I didn't even take it inside. I opened it in the driveway, right there in the cab of my truck. 0% probability of paternity. I didn't react. Not right away. My brain felt numb. I sat there with the test results in my lap, staring at the house I'd painted, roofed, remodeled myself. The nursery I'd built. The woman inside who lied to my face and still dared to smirk while doing it. I stayed quiet another 3 weeks. Got everything in order. Found a lawyer. Started the paperwork to challenge paternity. Filed for divorce. Dana kept trying to act like everything was normal. She kept calling me, babe. Kept asking when we were going to plan his baptism. I wanted to scream. But I didn't. Not yet. I waited until everything was finalized. Court papers filed, DNA test submitted, custody not assigned because, legally, I wasn't the father. Then I told her. We were sitting in the living room. The baby was asleep. I handed her a copy of the test results. She looked at them. Didn't even try to deny it. So now what? She asked. I'm leaving, I said. You're on your own. She said it was a mistake. That she didn't even love the other guy. That she thought it didn't matter because she knew I'd be the better dad. That she chose me in the end. I told her she didn't choose me. She chose herself. I moved out 2 days later. But I wasn't done. After I moved out, I stayed at my friend Mark's place. He had a finished basement and was going through a divorce of his own, so he didn't ask questions. Just handed me a beer and said, stay as long as you need. I appreciated that more than he'll ever know. Dana started blowing up my phone. Texts. Calls. Voice messages. It started off all sad. We can fix this, please come home, the baby needs you. Then it turned bitter real fast. You're abandoning your family. I should have told everyone the truth before you ran. You're not even a real man. I didn't respond. But I watched. She started posting pictures of the baby non-stop on social media. Captioning them with things like, just me and my little guy. We'll be okay. We have each other. Playing the single mom card to earn sympathy from her friends and co-workers. What she didn't post were the court papers I'd served her with, or the paternity test results. That changed when I got a message from her cousin, Matt. He and I had gotten close over the years. He sent me a screenshot of a group text Dana was in with some of her friends. In it, she was bragging that she had dodged a bullet because I was too soft to go public with what happened. She said I wouldn't dare ruin my image. She was wrong. I posted everything in a private Facebook group we'd shared with friends and family, about 70 people, including her coworkers and her parents. I laid it out with calm facts. No name-calling. No drama. Just the paternity test, the timeline, and the truth. People lost their minds. Her family was furious. Her mom called me crying, apologizing. Her dad texted me that he'd handle it. Dana's aunt commented on the post saying she was ashamed to be related to her. Her co-workers saw it. Her school principal saw it. Dana stopped posting after that. But then came the twist I didn't see coming. A few weeks later, I got a letter in the mail from a lawyer in Cincinnati. Turns out the guy Dana slept with, the closure guy, had found out he might be the father. After I left, Dana must have told him the truth. He wanted a paternity test of his own and full parental rights if it was his kid. According to the letter, Dana was trying to deny his request. Said she wasn't sure who the father was and didn't want to confuse the baby. It made me sick. She didn't want the real dad involved because she still wanted to control the story. Control the baby. Control how people saw her. I contacted the guy myself. His name was Greg. He worked in marketing. Lived alone. No kids. When I called, he sounded exhausted. I didn't even know she was married, he said. We ran into each other during a college reunion. She said she was single. We hooked up. Then she disappeared. He'd only found out about the baby because Dana slipped up during a phone call and mentioned our son. That's when he started asking questions. I told him what I knew. Sent him a copy of the DNA test I took. We talked for almost 2 hours. By the end of the call, we agreed on one thing: Dana had played both of us. He filed for a court-ordered paternity test. It came back positive. That's when Dana lost it. She showed up at my job. I was out at a site in Dublin, checking on some concrete work, when I saw her car pull up. She walked right across the dirt lot in sandals, holding the baby in one arm and a folder in the other. "You had no right to talk to him," she shouted. My crew stopped what they were doing. Just stared. I stepped off to the side with her. "Greg's his father," I said. "He deserves to know." "He doesn't know how to raise a child," she snapped. "He's not you." "I'm not raising someone else's kid," I said flatly. She started crying. Loud. Ugly. "I made a mistake, Chris. I thought you'd forgive me. I thought we'd get through this." I didn't say anything. Just walked back to the crew. Let her stand there crying in the dirt. That weekend, Greg messaged me again. He said Dana was refusing to let him see the baby. Said she was threatening to move somewhere far if he didn't back off. I told him to lawyer up. Ohio courts don't look kindly on mothers who try to block proven biological fathers. Especially after lying about who the dad was in the first place. He did. He filed for visitation and custody. Dana responded by filing harassment charges against me. Said I was spreading defamatory information and endangering her mental health. It didn't stick. The court threw it out, but it cost me time and money to show up and prove it was all lies. At this point, I was furious. She lied. She cheated. She tried to rope me into raising another man's baby. And now she was punishing me for walking away? I knew what I had to do next. Greg filed for custody, and things started to move fast. Dana tried everything to stall it. Claimed she was breastfeeding, she wasn't, she'd stopped weeks ago, claimed the baby didn't know Greg and it would traumatize him, claimed Greg had a dangerous temper even though she had zero proof. It was just her word against his. But Greg came prepared. He had messages, timelines, receipts. Her lies started unraveling. Meanwhile, I kept my distance. I wasn't involved legally anymore, but I watched everything from the sidelines. Quiet. Waiting. Then came another twist. Greg sent me a photo of a message Dana had sent him. A screenshot. She said if he gave up custody, she'd make it worth his while. She didn't spell it out, but it was clear what she meant. She was trying to seduce him. Again. He was disgusted. "She's playing the same game she did back then," he said. I believed it. Dana had always liked control. She liked being the one people wanted. Even in college, Andrea once told me, Dana had a thing for making guys compete over her. And now she was doing it again. Only this time it wasn't a game. There was a child involved. Greg and I kept talking. Over time, we started comparing notes. He'd ask, "Did she ever say this to you?" And I'd say, "Yeah, right before she cheated." We started realizing how much overlap there was. Same excuses. Same manipulation. It hit me one night, I wasn't special to her. I was just the guy who made her life look stable. Greg was the guy she ran to when she wanted excitement. Neither of us mattered in the end. She didn't love either of us. She loved what we gave her. And then Andrea messaged me again. She said she needed to tell me something she didn't tell me at the shower. Apparently, Dana had planned to get pregnant. She'd stopped taking her birth control without telling me. She told Andrea it was the only way to save the marriage. She'd even joked that if it wasn't mine, I'd never know the difference. Andrea had felt guilty ever since, but didn't know what to do. When I read that, I felt like I'd been punched. I sat there in my apartment for hours, staring at the wall, thinking about all the times I'd looked Dana in the eye while we were trying for a baby. All the nights I held her while she cried because it wasn't working. She wasn't crying because it wasn't working. She was crying because she was lying. And I'd loved her through every minute of it. Greg ended up getting partial custody. Supervised visits at first, then weekends. Dana fought it every step, but she was losing ground. The court appointed a guardian ad litem for the baby, an outside lawyer to make sure the kid's best interest came first. That lawyer didn't like what they saw. Dana was all over the place, emotional outbursts, missed appointments, even a few social media posts that painted Greg as abusive without any evidence. That's when Dana started spinning a new story, that Greg and I were working together to ruin her life. She said we were manipulating her, gaslighting her, teaming up against her to steal her child. It was insane. Her lawyer quit not long after that. Couldn't deal with her lies. A week later, I got a call from my old boss at a company I used to work for. He told me Dana had emailed him. She said she just wanted to share something, in confidence, he told me. But it sounded more like an attempt to smear you. She had told him I was unstable. That I had anger problems. That I'd threatened her. My boss didn't buy it, he knew me. But still, the fact that she was trying to reach into my past, mess with my career, twist the story. I realized Dana wasn't just spiraling. She was at war. And she'd made me the enemy. Even though I'd walked away quietly. Even though I'd done nothing but tell the truth. She wanted control back, and if she couldn't have it, she was going to burn everything down. That's when I started planning something I never thought I'd do. I wasn't going to let her destroy Greg. Or me. Or lie her way out of everything. I still had more to lose than she did. But I had one weapon left. The truth. The whole truth. And I was going to use it. By this point, Dana had dug herself into a hole. But she wasn't done digging. She kept making noise online, painting herself as a victim. She started messaging Greg's new girlfriend, saying she should think twice about being around a man with a history of violence. Greg didn't have one. No arrests. No reports. Nothing. She was just throwing anything at the wall to see what stuck. She even made a burner Instagram account and messaged me from it, pretending to be some anonymous, concerned parent. Told me I needed to let go of the past and respect Dana's role as a mother. I tracked the IP. It was her. I was done letting her twist reality. I talked to my lawyer. Told him I was ready to take this public. We drafted a cease and desist for defamation. Sent it to her. At the same time, I called a local podcast that focused on real-life family law disasters. A friend of mine knew the host. I shared everything. The test results. The custody records. Screenshots. Audio clips. Emails. I didn't use real names. But the story was clear. The episode dropped a week later. It blew up. Not viral, but big enough that people started talking. People at Dana's school figured it out. Her principal suspended her while they reviewed her conduct. Parents started asking questions. Some even emailed the district. Is this the kind of person teaching our kids? And then came the final blow. Greg filed for full custody. The Guardian ad litem supported it. So did the court. Dana lost custody. She got supervised visits only, twice a month, in a monitored setting. She cried in court. Screamed. Said it was unfair. That she was being punished for one mistake. The judge replied, "This isn't about punishment. This is about patterns of deception and emotional harm. You are not stable enough to parent full-time." Greg got full custody. He moved to a better place, closer to his family. The baby had a stable home now. A father who actually wanted to be there. And a mother who had to learn what consequences looked like. But that's not where this ends. Because Dana still had one more move to make. She tried to sue me. For emotional damages. Said my public posts and messages to Greg had caused her to lose her job and reputation. Her lawyer, some ambulance chaser she scraped together, filed the suit. We countersued for harassment and legal fees. And then I dropped the final hammer. I submitted all her texts and messages. All the screenshots. I also added a signed affidavit from Andrea, explaining how Dana stopped birth control on purpose to trap me into fatherhood, and later laughed about it. It destroyed Dana's case. She was forced to drop the suit. And the court ordered her to pay my legal fees, over $9,000. She couldn't afford it. So she had to sell her car. And move back in with her parents. I saw her once, about 6 months later. I was out with friends at a bar in downtown Columbus. She walked in, alone. Looked thinner. Worn out. She made eye contact with me but didn't say anything. I didn't either. She just kept walking toward the back. That was the last time I saw her in person. So what now? I've rebuilt. I have a new apartment. Better job. Good friends. I started dating someone a few months ago, slowly. Carefully. She knows the whole story. We don't lie to each other. Greg and I still talk. He sends me pictures of the kids sometimes. He calls him my little second chance. And honestly, I think the kid's going to be okay. He has a real dad now. One who's present. One who gives a damn. As for me, I'm done with Dana. I don't hate her. Not anymore. I've seen what karma did to her. I don't need to pile on. But I'll say this. She wanted me to raise another man's child. She smirked when I asked her the truth. She thought she could lie her way through everything and never pay the price. She found out the hard way, I'm not the man you cheat on, lie to, and use. I'm the man who makes sure the truth crushes you. And it did.